we play video games, we actually play like PixelToys, and that's the name of this studio. We have two guys from PixelToys right here. Welcome to iDÉAME, welcome to Spain.
Thank you.
Hola, tías.
What is PixelToys up to right now?
Well, we've just announced our first game, Super Little Acorns 3D Turbo, which is actually coming out really soon, next week in fact. And we're getting behind that game, talking to people about it like yourselves. We're really excited about that, so we're doing a bit of work on the publishing side. And we're also starting our next project as well, which is going to be for smartphone and mobile platforms, and which is currently at prototype stage.
About Super Little Acorns, you've shown us a nice gameplay demo. Which is the main features of this platformer?
It's a great little platformer full of charm and character about a squirrel called Mr. Nibbles, who is out to collect his nuts to feed his family. And we've taken the original game and expanded on it for the 3DS version. We felt that it was a fantastic game to start with, but the 3DS is really the ideal platform to put a platformer on. You have the best controls, tactile feedback is ideal for platform games, and we've made a little bit of use of the 3D feature of the screen to add some depth to the game. We've added a whole bunch of new levels and some new gameplay modes, and we think it's the best version of the game yet, and you should all go out and buy a copy and play it.
It's also a really retro style game, and also the Turbo subtitle is like a retro title. What do you think of retro games right now? It's something like they are a rebirth, and people is getting to play them again.
Yeah, well, I think it's really exciting. I think a lot of people that grew up with games in the 80s and 90s now are in a position to start making those games, and they've made the games that they used to love. And obviously for smaller teams it's easier to make games in a 2D style or in a more retro style than it is to build very big, elaborate 3D expensive games. So that's why we chose to focus on that to start with. And obviously the game's very charming as well. We can do a lot of cool stuff with very crisp 2D, bright, colourful graphics, which we think is a really nice style. And as far as the turbo goes, we actually have a turbo mode in our game, so you can actually play the game when you unlock it 25% faster all the way through.
It's pretty challenging already as a game, but if you want more extreme challenge, we've got a whole bunch of challenge modes and the turbo mode layered on top.
Also for you mentioned old players, also for new players, you think they're kind of embracing the retro style now more than in previous years?
I think the retro style never really went away. It's just that there's more people now making those types of games. I think the most important thing when you're making a game is that the game is fun, and that people enjoy it and have a good experience. And that's what we tried to make sure we put into the Super Little Acorns 3D Turbo. And that's what we'll try to put in all our games going forwards, whether it's a retro style or a modern style.
Yeah, I think that the industry and the technology has evolved to a point where we're not restricted to make games in a retro style. You know, years ago we were restricted by the technology, but now people have the opportunity to create whatever they like. And maybe there's a little bit of a fashion recently because people have had the opportunity to go back to small-scale development. You can work on smartphones and tablets, and you can do that with a very small team. And actually, the consoles are opening up, and you can start to bring titles to 3DS or to some of the other platforms in a similar way. So those smaller scope games lend themselves very well to styles like this. And you know, as long as the game is fun, then the visual style will tie in with it, but it doesn't necessarily dictate whether you're enjoying the experience or not. We love retro games, and it seems like consumers do too, so I think they'll be around for a long time.
Cool. You mentioned mobile development, also console development. What can you add from each field to the other while developing games?
Well, I think you can, if you've traditionally worked in console development, then obviously you've got experience that you can bring to mobile. I think, you know, going the other way though, there's a new ways of buying games and new ways of people interacting and purchasing games. So people that worked on mobile products and had that experience of releasing those games, they can also bring those to work on console teams. I think that now, as Alex was saying, the barriers are breaking down between what you can do. You can get into console development much more easily now. So it's not necessarily a problem for doing either or both.
Is that what you're talking about here in iDÉAME to young developers? Is that what you're telling them?
Yeah, we're talking about making games the size of the teams and the platforms that you work on. From a technology perspective, moving between console and mobile devices has never been easier. There are a lot of tools out there to help you, and the platform holders are very helpful as well with the process. The key difference, I think, between traditional consoles and mobile devices is the environment that people play them in and the controls that are available. You know, using a touchscreen or a D-pad is a different experience. So you have to think about how you design your game to best make use of that when you're doing so. Even that though, there is some breaking down of the barriers at the moment. If you look at Nintendo platforms in particular, with the 3DS and the Wii U, they're both touch-enabled devices. So you're starting to see people use those features across console and social and mobile games as well.
Okay, last one is a personal one for you, Alex. I've heard you worked on Rare some years ago.
Yeah.
So any anecdote, any memory you want to share with us?
Well, I can tell you that I was just talking here at iDÉAME about the history of development as I've experienced it, and talking about how it's a lot easier these days to begin development in terms of the tools that are available to you. So I remember starting at Rare, and at the time they didn't have a big budget for their development kits. So instead of buying a development kit for everybody in the studio, they actually took some Nintendo 64 consoles, and they basically wired a circuit board into the top of a retail console, and then they gave you a computer with the equivalent of notepads and said, okay, this is your tool set. You just have a console, you don't have a debugger, you don't have a work environment, you just write some code in an editor and then go. That was a baptism of fire. We've come a long way since then, but the rest of my time at Rare was a really great experience. There's some really talented guys there. They were there at the time. They're still a great team performing great stuff these days. So it was a pleasure to start in the industry there, and I hope it's informed my skills, and it's helped me a lot to come a long way over the years.
Okay, thank you very much, guys, for your time, and good luck to PixelToys. Thank you.
Thank you.